Welcome to the Emergent Gamer Podcast. This is your host, Lock and Key, here for episode 266. And I'm here with the best group of guys. I have Mr. Neo Aoshi.
Hey, how you doing?
I got Mr. Felix Hergood.
Yo, it's Felix Hergood.
Wow. Yes.
Bringing the energy.
Yes, it is. And then we got Trip Zero. What's going on, Trip?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
How's everybody doing?
Good, man.
Good.
Chill. I like how fast Felix said his name. I was impressed by his mouth
He's
speed.
usually pretty slow on the draw.
I was channeling some pro wrestling, thinking of my days,
He's usually like deer in headlights, so that was definitely different.
Did you say channeling your days as a pro wrestler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, just playing pro wrestling.
I missed that backstory.
No, just playing pro wrestling on Nintendo.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
His
dude.
wrestling backstory is like that David Arquette wrestling movie from the 90s.
Yeah.
What was
Ready to Rumble.
What's it called? Ready to Rumble.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
That's the one.
But
I remember that.
Take out David Arquette and put in Felix Hergood.
Hell yeah, that's a movie I would see. 100%.
So I wasn't on last week. So how's everybody doing? What's been going on for you guys? Anything
Nothing
exciting?
much.
I mean,
Can't say anything crazy.
it's a pretty crazy
It is
week,
cool.
man. It was a crazy week.
Crazy week for you, Felix?
Do you
Yeah.
do you want to talk about Chadwick Boseman?
Yeah, it's pretty sad, man. Like,
It is.
I noticed your background on Twitch is Mr. Boseman.
Yeah, I mean, you guys all know, but maybe people who are listening to the show are brand new or whatever. But I'm a massive Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, and so this was like I woke up to this news and I was like, and he's also only a year older than me, so like that's even
Yeah. You're gonna get your colon checked.
yeah. So I already did it.
Good.
I did a you could do a polyp screener from home. So I did one.
Oh,
Yeah,
Technology, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the more thorough thing would be to go through and do a colonoscopy. But I'm like 42, and my because it runs in the family, my doctor recommends that I do it at 45. So right now, I'm just going to do screeners until I get to 45, and then do it. My grandfather on my mom's side had it, so.
okay. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I think I was online gaming. Was online.
You and me were
Oh
playing.
yeah, we were playing. That's right. And you had saw it first.
My phone blew up with it,
Which is weird because I normally get those notifications too for the news app and whatnot. We were both in shock. Like it was so out of nowhere, like it. And then after that gaming session, I just spent the whole, the next hour or so on Twitter just reading what everyone had to say, like all the, positive things that came to light about like what he's done for the Black society.
Yeah, and all of his roles are like he played Robinson, the baseball player, Jackie Robinson.
Jackie
42,
Robinson. Yep.
42 is an amazing movie.
I didn't know that was him.
He also
Yeah.
also played Thurgood Marshall, and he also played James Brown in Get On Up.
And don't forget a little small role of King T'Challa.
Yeah.
Of
And that was
Wakanda.
that was
Very-
four.
very
That was
small
four. He starred in 4 movies as that character. So
right.
yeah,
Damn, and he was sick the whole time throughout all of that since his first appearance.
yeah, I think
Civil War.
Since Civil War was in theaters, I think is what the timeline I saw. So
Right.
maybe not. He might have still been feeling sick during Civil War, but I don't think he was diagnosed until Civil
After.
War was in the theaters. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could be
one
wrong,
thing-
but I feel like I read that.
The biggest thing that was shocking to me was the fact that he kept it like him being sick so private. Like this was it was a big shock because nobody knew except his family.
I was just reading an
you know?
article today that Kevin Feige, the architect of Marvel's Cinematic Universe, didn't fucking know.
I can't imagine that, man.
Right,
I
and,
really
and
can't.
I said that myself when I first heard. I was like, well, they must have known because I imagine they do health screenings per year because of their long contracts.
Well, yeah, I mean to not get. I don't want to walk away from
Yeah,
us with his loss, but like it's a billions of dollars in franchise. There's no way that you could just keep that a secret with what you have going on, like not with that type of contract. So I would imagine they had to have known, but it's still, yes, it was still, I think, a shock for everyone when it happened.
I think it's a testament to him and his dedication to not only his characters but also just bringing joy to people and making their lives better. He never made it about himself. Like, he never turned the spotlight on himself for what he was going through. It was always like, how can I make people better because of my existence? Like, how can I be here to fulfill what I'm put here to do? Like he visited St. Jude, a children's cancer research hospital while having cancer himself. I've just read so many stories about how he would treat people, even like the people in the press corps in front of premieres, when everyone is like, there was a great thread on Twitter I read about, the experience of being a press reporter, how you get rushed past by celebrities because usually they're late or it's hot outside and they've already talked to a million people. And he was one of the people that would literally talk to every single person who was there, who wanted to ask him a question, get a statement or something for whatever outlet they were working with. He was just talking to every single person. And they were like, I could tell that he was tired and hot and uncomfortable, but he was just there for everyone else other than himself. And that's just who he was.
I read that thread on Twitter too. And yeah, I mean, the stories are endless. Like I even read like small ones from like when he did the events at commencement, when there were a bunch of students that like wanted to take pictures with him. And there was a thread from some girl that was like, he said no to me when I asked to take a picture. And, he immediately turned around after he saw my disappointment and was like, all right, let's take a picture. And she showed the picture that they took together, like that type of stuff he didn't take for granted the position that he was in and the impact that he had. That Jimmy Fallon skit that came out shortly after Black Panther came out is a good testament to that. If you haven't seen the Tonight Show,
how did the sketch go?
So it's not a sketch, it's a bit, but they set it up where they had fans go in and they were talking to a Black Panther poster.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Okay,
and they were supposed to be they were supposed to be recording like and talking as if they were talking to him and sharing how they felt, and then he always would come out at the end, or to see that. That's from years ago at this point, right? I think that came right after the movie came out, but nonetheless the impact was profound. It's a major loss. It truly is. And it kind of sucks to see like what happens in our society with actors like this that kind of fall out of the limelight, and then you realize all of the good that they've done during the brief time that they were in the limelight. And it's like, how do we take advantage? How do we make sure that these people are constantly applauded for what they do, Mm-hmm. Because it was pretty sad to see the way the internet, like, there were pictures of him while he was obviously deathly ill, and people were like making fun of him on the internet because he looked so thin.
Yeah, the original belief was that he was doing it for the role in The Five Bloods. I think they were saying like that's what he was doing it for, and so there's all this speculation. But then there was also the haters out there of the world who were just saying trash stuff about him losing weight. That troll culture, man, that burns me up. It really does, man.
It's stupid. It's real bad.
Yeah.
Someone should do something about that.
That's a pretty big problem to solve for.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a tough loss. It really is. So that happened this week.
Yeah.
It's still,
that was my
crazy.
week. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it all down, guys.
No,
that was good to bring up.
I think, yeah.
It was on my mind, and I didn't want to avoid talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I kind of set a mine there for you guys to walk on, which was the picture.
I noticed it.
It's all good.
Well, as you guys are following me into battle.
to pivot away a little bit, I didn't get to talk about it last week, but to share some brief stuff about what I've been playing. I got into Fall Guys. I played some Fall Guys.
Is that fun?
It is a lot of fun, and it is. Well, I shouldn't say that it is as
like
a blanket
chaotic
statement. But what I was going to say is it's rage inducing. I get so mad when I lose.
Like Felix level of rage.
I mean, if you were to ask the guys that I was playing with, probably, yeah. You could ask Jay, Nimbus. Nimbus was streaming, so like there were people in his stream, and I was yelling, just literally screaming. I was so mad because it's just like they're the most simple of games, and when you mess up or someone messes with you to fuck up your run, it is far more rage inducing than losing in a other multiplayer game. And they're jelly beans. Playing as a jelly bean, and you're running up, but you're doing like a obstacle course as a jelly bean where all you can do is dive and jump, and somehow that's the most infuriating multiplayer experience I've ever had. But it is a ton of fun. It like we were talking about potentially doing like a Discord night with that.
I would love to.
Where we would cycle people in, because right now you can only do like parties of 4, I think. But
man,
like
if they did private games with that,
would be so fantastic. Great. It really channels the Mario Party vibes. You know, like if you ever got into that, playing that with your friends growing up with all the different games. Man. That's all that it really is, right? It's just a different take on it.
Is it crossplay or between console, PC?
No, it is not. It is not. So
did you scoop it on PC, or did you get it on, because it is free, or it was actually as of yesterday free on PSN? It was the game of August, so you could.
Yeah, I have it on. I bought it on PC.
I have it on PS4.
Yeah. I did the PS4 download as well.
I have it. So who has it on PC? Me, Nimbus, Jay, Andy, Gism.
But it's like what, $20?
It's 20. Yeah,
it's a good get. It's a good get.
Oh yeah, for what you get out of it, you know, even if it's only a few play sessions, like it's hilarious. Even if you're not raging, it's still funny as shit to see what happens in that game, because the games are so crazy.
Anything could happen.
Anything can happen. That's really the only new thing I've been playing, but I wanted to mention it because I know it's been a topic of conversation in gaming circles and on Twitter with the Tim the Tapman saga. I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, I hopped in his stream to see him pull that off.
That was such a streaming event created out of his event. It was the perfect like content storm.
What did Tim the Tapman do?
So he couldn't win. He just couldn't win, and he started tweeting about it, and then the developers got involved and started making fun of him, and it just like it caught fire.
Everyone started making fun of him. Yeah.
Everyone started making fun of him. So everyone would tune into his streams to see if he would finally win a game. And he kept losing, and he would rage every time he would lose. So there's tons of clips of him raging. And like, you know, it was just like this meme that was created all within like a span of 48 hours that lasted for like a week or so. I don't know how long it took him to finally get a W, but yeah, it was hilarious.
You think after a while he was just doing it on purpose?
See, I didn't catch all of his streams, but I really don't think so, because some of the things are just like him about to win and then like him getting knocked on a piece of geometry, or someone messing with him and then losing, and like him, you know. So I don't know. It was hilarious, truly.
Meanwhile, Dr. Lupo is the best Fall Guy player in the world, because Fall Guys Twitter looked it up. They looked up in their stats or whatever. Who has the most wins, who has the best percentage. Turns out it's Dr. Lupo, and he's just crushing it. Yeah, which is fascinating. I watched him and Gary Whitta. Gary Whitta hosts a show called Talk Guys, where he interviews people while playing Fall Guys. And he was with Dr. Lupo, and in that stream alone, Dr. Lupo got like 5 or 6 crown wins.
That's so crazy to me.
Just doing his thing. Yeah.
I mean, the guy's just really good at video games. Like he's
really good at video games.
I mean, he is, yeah. But it's not like it's an easy thing to beat, right? Because you're playing against a lot of other players.
Random things could happen at any moment.
Yeah, it's very luck-based too. Yeah, getting bumped, getting grabbed, getting hit by something. It's part of it. So it's part of actually any battle royale to a certain extent. You know, like ones with guns can be more skill-based, but like you can still drive next to a building that you have no idea someone's in and get blasted. So there's still an element of like luck,
skill versus luck.
Battle royales, yeah.
Oh, so you would I don't know anything about this game. So this game is just another BR. That's
so
it is, yeah.
I mean, it is a BR in the sense that there are a certain number of players in the first game, and then after the first game, there's a certain number of players, and then it dwindles down to where you win. But it's not a BR like you're thinking. I mean,
Yeah, you're not shooting. You're not shooting guns.
Well, and it's not like drop into a map, and right. So it's like, so you spawn in, right, and there's, I forget the total number, but let's say there's 60 people, 60 jelly beans, and it's always really a race to the finish line. And there's just different obstacles to reach the finish line. So the race starts and it'll be cut in half. The first 30 people to get to the finish line. And then you go to game 2. And game 2 is a different obstacle course. And there's 24 people that make it through this game. And then so on and so on and so on.
It's like track heats. It's just like track heats.
But the games are pretty...
Olympics or at a...
Sure.
Event.
Yeah. And there's different types of games like memory games and
soccer
course and soccer. Yeah, it's
grab the tail.
It's fun, man. It really is. It's certainly worth. If you know people that are playing it, it's worth picking it up and playing with another person. I would never play it by myself, I don't think, but it was a fun time for sure. I know, Neo, you had an interesting stream recently, right? What was that, a couple days ago?
I did. Yeah, it was Sunday. Over the weekend, me and like 6 friends, we hosted it was actually Rowan from our Discord, hosted a Star Wars Edge of the Empire tabletop RPG game. But since we're all in different states and far away from each other, we did it over Discord and I streamed it. The whole thing, it was a great time. We all... picked our characters with backstories and roles, and Rowan laid out an entire scenario for us to play through in this. It was pretty cool.
Repeat that. What's the role-playing game called again?
Edge of the Empire.
Edge of the Empire. Got it.
Yeah. And I played Pathfinder before, which is Dungeons and Dragons. But this had a whole twist to it where the dice were specific to Star Wars elements, like. You had to roll for initiative. Well, I'm sure this is all connects to Pathfinder in some way, but like you have to roll for initiative. There are dark and light force rolls that can also affect things that happen. There are advantage rolls that you get in combat and stuff. And it's fun because it's like you were literally playing a turn-based RPG with a group of people, except you are speaking no, it's fine. You're speaking your actions. You're speaking what you want to use on your character sheet to complete it.
Now, is this? Oh, go ahead, Locke. Sorry.
I was going to say, it's just this. I've always wanted to try like a tabletop RPG experience, but I've always found them very hard to like enter into. But this seems, with the skin of Star Wars over top of like the core mechanics, it seems like it might be like an easier thing to step into and play. What is the typical length of a session with this?
So we actually completed the scenario on stream. I want to say it was about like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Pretty much. But thinking about what we did in that time frame, it didn't feel like that, but it takes long because you're going through everything everybody is doing individually, right? Everyone gets to do things, but pretty much all we did throughout, like, I could tell you the entire synopsis of what happened, right? We were we are running away from a random hut's guards, we hid in a cantina. We left the cantina, went to a junkyard. We had to convince the junker to give us a part for a ship. We had to release the ship from an Empire shackles. Did that, went to the junkyard, escaped, had a fight on the ship with the captain, and that was the game. Like, essentially, like, but like everything that we did in those moments, like, made it feel a lot better or not better, like it felt more real because we were injecting personality and our own takes on the characters into it, right? So like,
right, of course, yeah.
Overall, it was a really fun experience. Plus, we were just shooting shit with like old friends. These are guys I went to high school with. Like, we all go way back, so it was like a really good time. Like, even Rowan, like, we all went to high school together.
Right.
But yeah, it was like honestly tons of fun. We're already planning the next one. Like, they're already like getting ready to like actually write character backstories and stuff. It's kind of funny. What's up, Felix?
So, Neo, did you have any experience with tabletop games before?
I've played a total of 3 Pathfinder games before my life. One of those times I fell asleep while playing it. So
interesting.
Take that as you will.
So this is not one of these like new like so they have these new hybrid tabletop games where it's part board game, part raw tabletop game. Like Dungeons and Dragons, the company Wizards of the Coast makes a whole line.
Wait, Wizards of the Coast does that?
I think they're Wizards of the Coast is Dungeons and Dragons.
That's Magic the Gathering, right?
Yeah, I think they were all bought out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Wizards of the Coast got popular with Magic, and then they bought TSR, which was...
Well, yeah, Wizards of the Coast has a lot of the card games.
Yeah.
They're massive.
No, but I think Wizards of the Coast at one point bought Dungeons and Dragons. But anyway,
cool.
So what they started coming out with probably about 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit before that, was these tile-based versions of Dungeons and Dragons with trimmed-down rules, where you actually use like pre-cut characters that are a part of the world, and obviously you can put your own character sheet to it and your own personality to it. But so were you playing with tile boards or anything like that?
No, so it was over Discord, and Rowan essentially had the maps of the areas that we were in.
Oh, I see.
So I had those on screen while we were all like, you could see us on the side, and then what we were looking at, and then we had our dice rolls in the corner, so you could see what everybody was rolling.
So it was old school super tabletop.
Yeah. Old school. We did, however, choose pre-made character sheets. Like we used pre-made characters.
Oh, I got it.
We did not write our own characters like I guess you normally would.
Yeah, right.
Trip.
To go back to Felix's point, you were asking like if it was a pre-made, like almost Dungeons and Dragons light experience he was playing, where like the board is there and the characters are there and they're just kind of participating.
That's what they have now. That's like a thing.
I was gonna say it is becoming very, very popular. I have a a board game system called Time Stories that I picked up to play with some friends a couple of years ago, and I'll drop a link in the chat for the stream or for you guys as well. This is like a you get like the board itself and you cover the board up in certain locations with like story packs. So like say you play through one story, you pick up the next pack and you can use the same system you have to play this next concept or whatever. But it takes care of a lot of like the real like intricate and grindy details you might expect from like a D&D campaign, especially for people that are not used to that thing, or just don't have the desire to do that much work, with paper and addition and stuff like this. So it's very popular to kind of bridge the gap between all the work you'd have to do and create and just kind of hop into a more intense board game experience, which is pretty cool.
It also helps with the visual experience too, a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. This
is different than what I'm referring to, because I'm looking at like the game board and everything like that. This is more board game than I think what I'm referring to. Although it, Neo referencing the fact that they were using maps is very similar, because the tiles essentially amount to being the dungeons, the rooms where you can move.
Right.
The one that I really got into a few years ago that I think really nails this, and they do the hybrid really well, is Zombicide.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it.
Yeah, Zombicide is basically like you're in like one location, maybe a cavern or whatever, and you're just trying to survive. And what's really cool is it's very similar to video games. Like you roll for the turn of the enemies, and your roll decides how many spawn. So
you're just doing the RNG for the video game,
right? So
by hand.
The zombies just keep like spawning. You keep putting the figures on the board, and it just gets real nasty after a while.
That's a statement that someone who's like mad old would be like, but that's what board games were. Like video games are just computer board games.
Exactly.
I was like, it's like a manual video game. It's like it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work.
Modern RPGs are directly inspired by Dungeons and Dragons and that system of the roll, like the random the RNG.
Yeah, that was
random
that comment. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I started on. I played tabletop before I really when we were young. You guys were surprised. I guess you guys were surprised when I started telling you on the show that I never really played like Final Fantasy, like straight up role playing games from the Nintendo era and the Super Nintendo era. I didn't play because I was playing the role-playing game that was at the table. That's what I did when I was in high school. Like I loved playing. I was the dungeon master creating all of the stories, and I loved doing it. And I had a game that I ran in. I lived in a development growing up, and there were 4 or 5 kids around my age who were in the neighborhood who came over every single day and got obsessed with the stories that I was like telling. Man, I got crazy with it. I got super crazy with it, but.
Yeah, but Felix, in for our scenario, the maps were only there to assist us with just visually looking.
Yeah.
Like we would be calling out locations like, oh, I'm gonna hide behind the bar, and like because now I know in my mind where it's located compared to where the enemies are. Like it just assisted with the the picturing the environment.
What I'm saying you could do is you could do one of these prepackaged hybrid TSR Dungeons and Dragons things in the future. I mean, obviously you guys are doing like Pathfinder right now, Pathfinder rules, but like, but they're very visual because they have literally like the tile boards represent the caverns or whatever that you're going through, and somebody like the DM, the guy who's running the show, could have a camera on the board. I think that's probably how they even do it when people are playing, online
digitally,
apart role playing.
Essentially, Felix, that's what my stream was.
Yeah.
Because on one side you could see visually what we were doing and the dice roll. Other side you could see all of our reactions and our faces and stuff.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Over the weekend, I also went to like your game and hobby shop. There was I was in a different location than my home area. But I did see a game there that was like build your own dungeons and play a role-playing game like that. And you could, very expensive, you could buy all these different mats and different like types of dungeons, construct your own dungeon like you would.
Is it like a Warhammer thing with like little minifigures people paint and shit like that?
Less elaborate, more like you have a bunch of like dungeon like hallways that you can construct walls and different side rooms and stuff.
Okay.
And I guess you would play it like you would a board game, move your pieces through it. I didn't really look into the rules, but there are tons of expansions for it. Like you could expand it to be a massive, world or dungeon or whatever you want to do to play it. And I was like, wow, well, that's definitely a good evolution of that board game.
Right.
For sure.
Trip, Zombicide is crazy like that. The people who intricately paint the characters you get for Zombicide.
Dude, I can imagine.
God, it's ridiculous.
I can imagine people go nuts for it.
And the Zombicide developers and creators got into it and started creating figurines for these specialized characters that, I actually bought a couple to go with Zombicide, where they're designed to be, they come with paint. And I didn't buy the ones that come with paint, but you can buy them. They come with paint, specific paint. You can paint by numbers, or you can paint it yourself, however you want to paint it. And you should see these people created these elaborate looks for the characters just by using different color on different parts of the actual figurine. Like, it's nuts, man, how people get into that figure painting stuff. Yeah.
They get real deep in.
It's cool stuff, though. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that was that. That was what I've been up to.
Nice.
That's cool, Neo.
Yeah. I kind of want to try it. I really do. At some point. It'd be cool
tonight.
Yeah. Like I could never dedicate 5 hours to playing it, but
bourbon and board games.
Woo! I was about to say at Rowan and be like, hey man, I'm interested in this Star Wars game.
Yeah, but I could never dedicate that much time. We would need to do like 5 play sessions. You know what I mean? The last time I sat down and did something for 5 hours unattended was 2.5 years ago. Prior to
you're like, when was my son born?
Yeah, I had to think about it for a second. Yeah, so but that's cool, dude. That's cool.
Yeah,
we're kind of revisiting that. Dope. Do we want to hit the news, the big news point?
I think it's time, baby.
Hell yeah.
What were we gonna say, Felix?
Oh no, I was just gonna say one thing that I didn't even know was coming. That's coming out next week, and I'll talk about it next week. We don't have to talk about it now, but I had no idea that they were remaking Kingdoms of Amalur: The Reckoning.
I'm so excited about it. Actually,
I love that game, dude. It's a great game. It's a great game. A good game.
Is it? Yeah. Is it something? Is it coming out on Switch? That would be great.
I don't know.
I've never played it.
I mean, it is. It's a really good game.
It gives you a lot of flexibility and choice, and like the decisions they made in it are just outstanding. I didn't even know you played that, Locke.
Oh yeah.
It is coming to Switch.
Yeah, that'll be a good Switch game.
Hell yeah.
If it is.
Oh shit.
It is.
Todd McFarlane helped design this game.
Todd McFarlane, of Spawn. who created Spawn. Yeah, this.
Yeah.
So the little history in case anyone listening doesn't know. So
It's not on Switch.
Kurt
It's PS4,
Schilling,
Xbox, and PC.
the Kurt Schilling is the former Phillies pitcher, right?
Right.
We're Philadelphia podcast, so that's appropriate for anyone who's listening from Philly. So Kurt Schilling finished playing baseball and decided that he wanted to create a game company. I don't remember the name of it, but he created this development company.
38 Studios.
38 Studios. There it is. Thank you. So he created.
I did not know that, dude.
Created
That's
the studio.
interesting as shit.
He got Todd McFarlane to create all the art for this game, and created this incredible role-playing game. And then immediately, like before the game had even been released,
Kurt Schilling.
he bankrupt 38 Studios.
He did.
Like
wow.
right, like the game came out after they were already bankrupt, I think.
It's because it was purchased by THQ.
Right.
THQ bought the rights to the game.
Right.
So they bought all the assets from him and did all that. That's great.
Yeah, they have the rights to the.
Well,
to the
THQ is
game
great. I mean, they've been making Saints Row games for years.
Well, hang on.
Yeah.
That is the past THQ. They went under as well.
Oh,
and
really?
they were reborn as THQ Nordic.
Yeah.
Which is completely different people. Like completely. They just restarted and then renamed their company THQ.
But they're still
bought a bunch of assets.
Yeah, so they're still making the
properties,
Saints Row games though. They're responsible for like the third one, and I think Saints Row 4.
That's more Deep Silver, I want to say.
Okay, well those companies are all seem to be working together.
Volition, Volition.
Volition, Deep Silver.
Let's save it because
I'll talk about it next week. I wasn't trying to derail it.
I'll talk about it next week, but also
derail. We're going.
I'm joining in with you because I'm excited about it. Yeah. I think it's a great action RPG, so I'm excited to talk more about it next week. But
cool, dude.
What we wanted to break down this evening was the major announcement that just happened from Nvidia. If you're not aware. Nvidia just released their 30 series graphics cards. They did a little teaser and shared some info about their new graphics line. And it's pretty big news for PC gaming as a whole with the release of their new cards, or the planned release of their new cards. So we found out about the RTX 3070, the RTX 3080, and the RTX 3090 are the three cards that we learned about. And the 3070 and the 3080 is just an iteration of what we've been getting since the 10 series came out, right? Like I have a 1080 card in my computer, but we've had 970s and 980s like this. They do these iterations each year. But the biggest thing about this is the change in performance to cost that we're now getting with these new cards.
That was the biggest bombshell that I think they dropped. Like performance definitely was a plus to listen to, and it was very cool, and everything they showed was cool. But I expected these to be way more expensive, way more expensive.
Yeah. So the other thing with it is that I think everyone was expecting the price to be far more expensive, but then they were also not expecting the cards to outbeat the top tier cards that are currently on the market. So currently for a better price. Yeah. Correct. So currently the best graphics card you can put inside of your PC right now is a 2080 Ti. 2080 Ti, the Ti series of the cards have always been the top of the line since at least the 980 Ti, right? So it's been around for a while. This is usually released a few months after the graphics cards are announced, and it's always the top of the line that will get you the best gaming performance. The 2080 Ti currently, I think, costs about $1,400 if you were to get one right now. What we just found out is that the new series, the 3080, is going to be twice as good as the best graphics card that currently exists on the market, and is going to be half the cost, which is absolutely absurd. the launch price of the 3080 is going to be $699, which that is about how much I paid for my 1080.
That is about how much I paid for my 980 Ti as well.
Yeah, the 1080 launched for the same price,
right?
Which then soon got inflated because of Bitcoin miners, but that's a whole other digression.
Yep. Yeah,
do a whole episode about that year.
So and that is, and to think about it, the RTX 2080 Ti, the base, the non-aftermarket one where you start getting upgrades to coolers and whatnot from different companies, was the 1,000. So it's $300 cheaper than the base model graphics card when the 2080 Ti was announced, but it's in some areas 2 times the performance of that card, which is absurd.
Yeah, that's the wildest part, that it's literally it's double the card, it's double the power. You'd never get double the power for less money. Like on principle, they would just charge more than that. They being, nameless generic technology company bringing out a new product. Everyone was shocked when they dropped the $700 price point.
And then they were like, but we do want to give you the best of the best. So
and here's why. Here's the why.
Here's the 390, right? So now we have the 390, and that is going to be $1,400 if you want to purchase a 390. But this
is like the equivalent of that's like the equivalent of like the Titan, right?
Correct. It's like the top of the line card. So it's $1,499, excuse me. So $1,500, which is a significant amount of money to invest in your build, right?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that was the almost the total cost of my current build. But in any case, this graphics card is going to be able to produce 8K resolution. It's going to support 8K shadow play, meaning you will be able to record your gameplay live at 8K resolution.
Sheesh.
It's obviously got the latest HDMI, which would be HDMI 2.1. And it's also going to fully support the other bombshell that they dropped, which is the change in architecture to the way that assets are loaded for PC gaming. And this is going to lead us into our talking point about console versus PC, because this architecture is what consoles are touting as the big release, the big change in their hardware going into this next generation, is the insanely fast load times. And Nvidia is essentially saying, we will be able to replicate that with our graphics card, and we will be doing it at 8K resolution.
Yeah,
so,
the performance would be even better. Correct. Is what they're saying.
So they will be able to live load assets the same way that the NVMe SSDs will be doing for consoles. So for that, double cost of graphics card going from the 380 to the 390, 2 times the cost, you're getting the capability of 8K resolution. You're getting the capabilities of the shadow play at that, and then just how games will be able to how a current generation game will be able to run on that type of card. Think about Cyberpunk max settings, all that hair detail. How incredible is that going to look?
It's gonna be nuts.
Card. It's going to probably look as close to life as we will probably get. Right. So it's insane.
One thing that I don't know how many people or a lot of people don't realize is when consoles tout that they can do 4K gaming, they aren't actually doing 4K gaming. And on top of that, they're making concessions whenever they do push to 4K. For example, lower frame rate. They upscale the resolution to 4K, but it is not true 4K rendering of what is happening on screen.
I knew
usually this is the case.
I knew it was bullshit. That's why
it's a trick. It's like I want to say it's called checkerboard resolution scaling.
We don't have to go into the technology because I don't think any of us know it as well enough. I certainly don't. Sure. But it's definitely like a trick of an eye. A trick to the eye, because your eye doesn't process, certain wavelengths of pixels or color. The same reason why people use green screens to do digital effects, because of the way that light is processed by your eye. So they know that they can get away with visual tricks and have it look nearly as good, but not when you hold it up to YouTube video makers where they're going to dive in and show you the actual resolution frame by frame. But you can do it on a PC. You can easily do that on a PC.
from what it seems like, from what they're touting in their presentation and what people are reporting, that you'll actually get that performance and that quality of visual experience like at the same time, and you get the speed on top of it that goes with that, right? The loading times, refreshing textures, bringing all that in, less pop in, you know, like all that stuff. Real-time lighting, like the RTX, like real RTX, which is just better reflections and real, like more real reflections on the surface of skin and surfaces in general.
And the other thing to note is, which is super important and also to note, is that the 3090 is not the only card that takes advantage of the change in architecture for like instantaneous load times, right? Like this is going to be on all of the 30 series cards. So even if you go with the 3080, which the vast majority of people will probably do, and probably a lot of people will go with the 370 as well because of the lower price point, you're still getting that capability. You're still getting the they're calling it I forget the acronym, DLSS, which is deep learning super sampling, is what it is for it to instantaneous load the assets. So that's huge, right? You know, we're giving you this capability on all of our cards. You know, they'll just do it differently. And I'm pretty sure that I was when I was researching this, that the 3070 I think is still better than the current 2080.
Yeah, there's an image here
or something along those lines. So
it is faster than the 2080 Ti, and it's better. It's faster than the 2080 Ti still.
Well, even the Ti, which is crazy.
Well, the 30. Well, we're talking about the 3080, or we're talking about the 3070.
The 3070.
So the 3070 is still faster than the 2080 Ti.
Yeah, I actually posted a link in our Twitch chat here. You can actually see it's still faster by a little bit than the 2080 Ti at, what was it, $400 or $500, $450?
Right.
Which is insane.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what's that, a third of the cost?
Yeah.
So anybody that just pulled the trigger on a 2080 Ti has to be hoping that Nvidia has some buyback program.
Better return that.
Yeah, I'm still kind of burned up, dude. I bought a 2080 a year ago for like $800, and now like, damn, dude.
See, I think
what if I just didn't?
But this is where they get you, right? Because it's not like your performance with your 2080 is poor.
No, it's an incredible card. It's an amazing card. It can run RTX. It can do all these things. But like, I just get that FOMO. I'm like, I need this thing now, dude. Did you watch the marble demo? Did you watch the marble demo of the thing bouncing around and the light and the shadows and the guy's little paint room with his marble course? I need that. I need that on my computer right now. Obviously, take my $700, Nvidia.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
my
get
shit's
it.
fine.
I get it. I do.
I'm really happy. I'm at a point where I'm like, yes, now is a good time for me to pull the trigger on these cards.
Yeah, you're definitely there.
My card is on that chart. It is a 4.5% or times increase of my card at a slightly higher price, but still, like, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yours is just underperforming my card, which is actually crazy. But you did have a TI series card, right? So those ones usually last for a while. So it would be a big leap for me in terms of performance as well if I were to pull the trigger on it. You know, these are of course Nvidia's benchmarks, right? So we do have to take all of this with a grain of salt. We will have to see once this gets in the hands of some tech bloggers, some real world cases where it's actually running some games, that we'll be able to see, you know, the actual performance of these. But I think the real question is, you know, how does this affect gamers as a whole against, you know, what we've seen with the consoles? There was a lot of hype surrounding consoles leading up to, you know, we're giving you better hardware. We're going to be giving you a better gaming experience. We're going to be reaching these new highs for console hardware. Does this change anything when you can get a 3070 for $500 that is almost certainly going to outperform graphically what a console is able to do? What are your guys' thoughts?
Sure.
I think the answer to that is a hard yes, but that's crazy because for the first time in a lot of years, I felt like this year we were getting really, really close to consoles making a really solid case for themselves. You know, at least from a perceptions standpoint. Like last week, we were like, okay, there's probably some benefits investing in a PS5 or whatever the Xbox naming scheme is. I can't ever remember what the letters they mean for this
Series
year.
X.
Thank you. Like, they're going to be a really cost-effective way to get incredible performance for your games. So now there's like a benefit to buying this because computers are expensive. But now, it's like they had this, like they upped their version of the story, and then the computers came by and did the same thing. So like that difference in performance versus cost versus gameplay experience, all of that is just the same now. Again, after these Nvidia announcements, like you're still for a similar price going to get so much more performance by investing in a PC if you're someone who wants to game like with that level of detail, realism, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I think they pounded them back down to the even footing they were at before. Like consoles are now exactly where we always thought consoles were.
They were like hold my beer.
Especially with the fast loading too. That was one of the bigger benefits, that you could have this instantaneous loading off of your built-in SSD technology, and now that's going to be a Windows feature that these cards can take advantage of. Now, like,
but I mean, PC gaming has already taken advantage of. I mean, not to the sense that they're talking about for the consoles, but we've experienced SSDs for years at this point.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can definitely load things faster, and that's obviously a PC benefit. But they were touting some of the technology coming out as like this revolutionary ability for us as console developers to write software that talks to this hardware in a way no PC can, to give you a loading experience that's custom to this hardware. And that's why you should buy these consoles. But then all of a sudden we find out, oh no, this is just kind of like a framework that people can take advantage of. And as long as like it's well done on the graphics card side and on the Windows side, it's going to be a great experience.
Yeah, now it just looks like the next logical step in the evolution.
Exactly. Right? And you're still going to have like a quote unquote messier experience with a PC. We all know Windows sucks. No one likes dealing with it. And that's definitely a downside to it. But I mean, we're just right back to where we've always been, just with even better specs.
It is really interesting to think about it because, you know, even I was never going to buy a next gen console. Like it's just not in the cards for me anymore. But I was also thinking like, wow, this is the first time in a long time that I've really wanted to invest in it because of all of the things that they were talking about. And it felt like the pendulum was starting to even out. And the scale was starting to be even in terms of like what you were going to get in a console versus like Nvidia just slapping them in the face saying you're out of your damn mind. And I think it's also great that this architecture exists, because then it allows a developer, right? Because this is what we're really concerned about, is the developer being able to just release a game and it worked the same way everywhere. Especially with Sony announcing that potentially they won't be doing exclusives and we'll be bringing games to the PC eventually. Right?
They literally said they want to do more PC Sony exclusives.
Right. So if you get that, the same games that are loading instantaneously on someone's PS5 would hypothetically be doing the same exact thing on the PC side, right? With this type of card. Which for a current PC gamer means that that's almost like a no-brainer, right? Like if I have the means to upgrade my card, this seems like the best decision versus just buying a console to take advantage of that tech. I'm curious, Felix,
Go ahead.
from someone that despises Windows and despises all things PC, like when you hear this
really
type
think of that? You really think I despise it all?
I think we
the
know
PC
it.
gaming experience. We don't think you like the experience as much, you know?
I don't know. I can't accurately describe how I feel about the PC gaming experience because I haven't done that. Like I can't pass an opinion on something I haven't done.
That's fine. So I don't want to get into that rabbit hole because it's not really important.
It's not. It's irrelevant.
But it's fun.
So I guess it is fun. You're right. The question I have for you is like, as someone that I know you appreciate like high fidelity, I know you appreciate realism and those types of things. As someone that's a console gamer strictly, right? When you hear some of these like technical specifications and things of like, you know, 8K resolution or getting a card that's probably going to be 2 times as powerful as the next gen gaming console for the same cost as the next gen gaming console. Like, what's your reaction to that? How do you feel about that type of announcement?
Well, I mean, when like all of this kind of stuff, like you guys get really giddy about it. You get super excited about this stuff.
In my brain, I'm like this. I'm like,
Yeah, Neo has been very excited since the announcement.
And I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate that, but I don't want. Okay, obviously, I don't want something. I say all the time that I can't retro games. So clearly, I like something that looks fresh and new. But I'm also somebody that really can be appeased by very little, I guess. It's weird. I want something that looks good, but I don't want to have to like put a lot of work in. Like, I'm the barrier to entry to all that you're talking about.
Sure.
Like I'm the guy. If you can convince me that something became so much faster and more affordable enough to get me to go in on building a PC with it and then start playing my games, changing my whole world to like move in that direction, then they did a good job. But like the thing that's the barrier to entry for me is the random bullshit that is Windows. Like, I don't loathe gaming on a PC. I just don't want Windows to be what makes it happen because it's fucked up and it goes bad too often.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think that's still where
that's still going to be a variable, right? And new graphics cards coming out. It just goes back to the whole concept of like me and being analogous to, well, okay, sorry, not me, but you guys being analogous to my father. So my father can literally rip open the hood of any kind of car, cars that predate all this computer technology, but like any car that predates like serious computer technology, my dad could rip it open and pretty much figure out in 5 minutes how to turn it into a car that actually runs great, like, or runs with higher performance. And you guys are like that with your PCs. And I've always been, and to my father's chagrin, I've always been this fucking dope with cars where I don't really know how to open the hood. I don't even know what I'm looking at when I stare at the hood. And it's exactly the same thing. It's like, it would be like my dad talking about horsepower in like some engine. You guys are talking about horsepower in your engine, and you're going, right. This is amazing.
Talking about CUDA cores. We got
look at how much horsepower. Look how much horsepower we're getting for such an affordable price. My dad would be telling me that about this vehicle or car or whatever, and I'd go, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm so happy for you.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to visualize. That's what it comes down to. But if you guys tell me you're getting a more affordable price for something that you're building with 8K power, 8K capabilities and all that stuff, then So
you mean to tell me that 10,496 CUDA cores doesn't mean anything
to you? For you?
I'm literally telling you it doesn't mean anything to me. It literally means nothing to me.
It doesn't mean anything to us either. I promise you.
It doesn't.
And I was going to say, Felix, I feel like we've been pretty good this episode with not getting too in the weeds with the tech, like techie stuff. Like, I think we've kept it to like,
I didn't think you
can load your game faster, or like you can look at more pixels.
Yeah, I'm not accusing you guys of that. I'm not saying
no. Not that you are, but I think like the conversation has been more kind of generalistic,
very service level
about this kind of stuff. Yeah. So does it help you understand at all, or make a decision if you're going to get into it this year?
Well, okay, my disconnect with all of that shit is how is it going to look like with a particular type of game I'm trying to play? Here's a great example. So I just got the remaster or remake, and I know this goes into a different rabbit hole, but like, okay. I just got the remaster, and I've been playing the remasters of Arkham, the Arkham game, the Arkham Asylum, and then I'm going to play City, right? Mm-hmm. I still can't see a difference. You know what I mean? Like I know that's not the same thing, but
I think you need to actually see what it looks like to play those games on modern hardware on a PC.
Well, I was having a conversation with somebody recently about how you tell the difference between a television that's not 4K and a television that's 4K. And I said the way you tell the difference is stand next to a television that isn't 4K and a television that is 4K, and then you can tell. And that's the kind of visual lesson I need in order to be able to see it.
I promise you, the moment you play Batman Arkham City, for a game from like 2010, 2011 or whatever, and you play it on like my PC, which is a more modern computer, at 1440p above 60 frames per second, because that game can most definitely run like that right now, you will see how smoother the animations look and how crisp the visuals and smoke effects.
Yeah, once you get that, you'll be addicted, right, Neo? Right, Neo? I'll be addicted.
And then you're like, wow, I need to buy the next graphics card. I need to upgrade my RAM. I need to
put it in my veins, man. Just get it.
I think like the interesting thing that this does for Microsoft, and what I would really the first statement that I would say is like with this type of announcement, I see no reason for anyone to buy a Xbox console. Truly, right? Besides the fact that they have the best online service presence, still, I don't care if you think PlayStation has grown, it's still nowhere as good as Xbox.
And it just updated. It got amazing, dude. It just updated.
However, which I would say that dealing with, which is crazy because like Windows is ass in comparison to like the Xbox UI and dealing with like their mobile operating system. So I would be curious to see if they shift that, right? Does Windows shift itself a little bit to where it simplifies itself down to be more of a gaming platform system? Or is there another OS build specifically for, where it uses the same underlying infrastructure, but makes it more friendly for someone like Felix or someone that's a console gamer? So that would be interesting to see if Windows makes that move one day.
Like a Steam big picture mode, kind of.
Yeah, something where like, it's super simple. The UI is not like a start menu and you don't have to worry about control panel and fucking drivers. It has that UI built over it.
Well, it's easier than it was years ago.
Oh, it certainly is. It certainly is. But I guess my initial point was with this announcement and with Xbox's services with Play Anywhere, and there's no exclusivity between Windows 10 and an Xbox, it almost seems silly to not invest your time and a little bit of extra money for a total build in a PC to get insane performance increases, right? An argument could be had about PlayStation and their exclusives.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Right. And maybe not. Maybe not with them with their latest. Like we're looking into PCs being.
I mean, I would wait to hear announcements, but
sure,
that they're gonna want to sell the hardware first and get those games to people on that hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Like even before last week, before Nvidia's announcement this week, I was always in the camp that I like my PC as the main place where I'll play things. My PS4 was my exclusive machine. Like that's where I play my Uncharted, my Ghost of Tsushima, my Last of Us, right? And the Switch is just an even like a bonus component of that. I get to take a lot of these games on the go. But my PC is always the place where if I can, I will play a game on that platform. Right. Just straight up. And this week solidified like me even saying, well, maybe now I'll just hold off on the PlayStation 5, wait a little bit, because I know I have a PC ready to go for Cyberpunk and all these other games coming out, right?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like unless a game is going to perform so much better on a PlayStation 5 and you own a PS4, it just doesn't seem like there's a need to upgrade, right? Like if you're strictly a console gamer, I would understand making the leap in generation, right? If you absolutely will never build a PC. But like for you, Neo, it almost seems like you could take that money and reinvest in your build or reinvest that money somewhere else, unless the performance is so great that it's like, okay, well, there's value in this increase. But if your PS4 is still running and still looks good, it's like, why am I making the generational leap?
Well, now with the announcement of this cards, I have a plan for my 980 Ti. I built a second computer this month. So it's going in that. I will now have like a portable gaming machine / streaming machine. Got that all set up this week. I'm very excited to use that tomorrow. But yeah, Well, also another example of I know we're jumping around. I'm going to be jumping around here, but like another example of concessions that consoles need to make for these graphics, they have modes in like the PS4 Pro, and I'm going to guess the PS5 as well, just for the sake of argument. They have a performance mode and a visual upgrade mode, right? Like you have to pick: do you want the visual upgrade, or do you want to run it at a higher frame rate and it to run better? Which shows me that these consoles are still making concessions, right? In some way that PCs don't necessarily have to do.
Right. I mean, you have a finer ability to tweak things to keep the visual fidelity high still, but maybe turn down some effects that you might not notice as much to be able to
you can
increase in frames, right?
Really dial in your experience.
Yeah, and you have like Nvidia that essentially tells you, okay, you want to play this at 1440 at 60 frames? Here's what your card can run, right? They have GeForce Experience, which will essentially tell you what your card's capable of running in game, and it will set those graphics for you in game without you having to fine tune it, which is a nice add-on. So yeah, until a console is able to be that granular and that specific, I would agree. I think there will be concessions, right? I think, and maybe all of this means nothing to the Felix gamers of the world, right? But
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying.
No. I mean, I think there's an argument to be had that it doesn't mean as much from your perspective. But
you just want to turn it on to play your game.
It's also not going to mean anything, but Locke, it's also not going to mean anything to the mother or the father of a kid who has a kid like me who had zero aspirations to build their own computer. But it might because
but also pre-built computers really weren't a thing, right? You couldn't go to a site and get a pre-built machine at an affordable cost during those times. Right now you can go to all these different websites and get a build, and someone will build it for you and it will ship to your house. And you pay a little bit of a premium for that. But like my cousin got a PC built specifically for Fortnite. He didn't get an Xbox. He got a PC built for Fortnite.
So there's like websites where you could get like a whole build.
Yeah.
And you build it. But you have to build it for a certain game.
So they'll say like, okay, what games do you want to play? You select your games and they'll be like, okay, what resolution do you feel like you want to play this at? And what frames are you trying to reach? And then they'll be like, okay, spit it out. Here's your build. And you'll hit buy, and then it ships and it shows up and you plug it in and you use it. Now you plug it in and you use Windows, but you're not doing, you're not doing what Trip did or what Neo did or what I did, which is,
well, let me tell you, if I ever do it, that's how I'm doing it, baby.
You wouldn't need to, dude. You can literally drive up the road and do a very similar thing, which is go and buy all the parts yourself and then experience building it with help from people.
Yeah, literally anyone probably in this chat could help you out. Speaking of that, building your own kind of like PC system, like made to order on the internet, CyberPower PC was someone who was looking to find their kind of niche in the streaming space, on Twitch, on content creation, and then found that they really like building PCs and making content around the actual building process. And now they have an entire site that's absolutely massive. They have so much success. You can order custom things for whatever you'd like, and their site looks like a store. Like if you go to CyberPower PC, it looks like a literal actual storefront. They've just gotten so big and so powerful. But it's someone who just was like looking to make their online content niche, and they were like, I like building this shit. So that's who you want. So you need to help you, Felix. Specifically them.
There's one that actually is. There's a company that started in my hometown. Believe it or not, which is actually crazy, because my hometown is like this small little suburb where nothing actually happens. And they just created like they do the same thing. They do builds for desktops, and they've just created what they call the Turbo, which is the smallest possible form factor you can put with putting a full-size graphics card in there and keeping it cool. So like, and you click buy and it shows up and you plug it in, and that's it, right? Because there's clearly a market for that, right? Because Felix exists probably in hundreds of thousands of them, right?
Yeah, I feel like the people that would game on a PC if they didn't have to build it is massive. And like it's a huge barrier having to put it together if you want good performance.
Right.
Rest in peace, Steam boxes.
And I do agree with what we were talking about earlier, which was if Felix, you were whenever we're past the threat of catching a deadly virus, if you were to,
I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid.
If you were to see, like I have the Arkham trilogy, I got it for free in the Epic Game Store because it's the other cool thing that you get over here is free games as well, just like you do with the consoles now.
Thank you, Epic.
If you see what it's actually like in reality, right? Like playing it at 1440p, like Neo was saying, and seeing it at 60 frames per second and really dialing in the graphics, it is very different. And you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe sitting at my desk is not the worst idea to game. And maybe dealing with the driver updates every once in a while is not the worst thing in the world.
That's how it starts, 1000%.
The grass is greener.
I literally bought a monitor recently that can do the 1440.
Oh shit! Oh, yeah, that's right.
For the possibility of me doing this, so I'm already kind of there, but I'm not.
You're closer than you were, man. A couple months ago, that's for sure.
You still have you have a good graphics card.
Yeah.
You're not running like some 7 series graphics card, right? But
No.
I think they're experiencing it at like one of our places so you could see what it looks like and test drive it. I think would help after these cards come out, right? These cards are going to come out, they're going to be super constrained. Like the global market is wholeheartedly affected by this. Like the manufacturing process for this is absolutely going to be affected. So getting your hands on one of these initially may be tough. And typically you don't buy Nvidia's version, you buy MSI version or something.
I'm kind of digging Nvidia's stock cooler.
I mean, it looks beautiful. Yeah, but you typically get a little bit of a boost in performance if you buy an aftermarket one, but that's neither here nor there. So there's going to be some time before we get our hands on these. But I'm excited to see where the benchmarks come. I'm excited to see how this shakes out in the industry. I think ultimately for us as consumers, it's a huge announcement. It truly is. You pair this with a very cost-effective CPU with AMD, and it's like, man, good performance in a gaming PC just got a whole lot easier to obtain.
I got a little confused there. You said pair it with AMD? I thought they're competing against AMD.
So they make CPUs, yeah.
Yeah, so AMD makes GPUs as well.
Oh, I see.
Which are typically shit. But their CPUs right now are pretty incredible in terms of cost versus performance.
I see.
Same thing we're talking about here. So
that's good. That's the company I invested in.
It's the company I invested into, and I kicked myself every day that I didn't buy more. Because I'd be sitting on a small fortune.
No, I just did. I just started investing in AMD. So.
Well, yeah, I bought shares when it was at $12 a share. It's now at like $90 a share.
Boom. That's where I'm at.
If I would have bought more, it would have been fantastic. But
well, look where Nvidia is. Jesus.
Yeah,
they're doing really well.
Yeah.
After that announcement, their stock shot straight up.
Yeah, so I think for me, I probably won't get one of these cards right away. I think I will most likely upgrade my CPU first.
I'll tell you how it is, Slock.
And then go the graphics card route after, only because I think in terms of where the need is for my build, it would be a CPU first, since I'm rocking that first gen Ryzen CPU. It's time to upgrade it.
Love it.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see where this goes. And Felix, just don't buy an Xbox. Buy a PlayStation. Don't buy an Xbox.
I was just buying both of them.
No, don't buy an Xbox.
Why?
Because there's no fucking. Are you not listening?
I was listening.
There's no reason. You already have a PC. Put that money that you're going to buy an Xbox in, and take all the years worth of money that you're going to spend on Xbox Live, and just put it in the new GPU.
Got it.
You can still buy your PlayStation.
You can still buy your Xbox games on your PC. Ultimately, that's the point, right? Those games are going to be showing up on both places.
You know what? Do what you want, but I'm just saying. The
verdict isn't in on what I'm doing yet.
Okay.
Lock.
All right.
Except I definitely put myself on the pre-order list for both consoles.
That's okay. You probably did that before this announcement, so that's okay.
I definitely did.
Cool. I think that brings us to the end. So we'll keep everybody up to date on some news with this as it comes out. Like if we start to see some actual benchmarks or more. But in the end, I think we're all interested to see how this pans out with next gen consoles coming out. So thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate everybody hanging and listening to another episode. You can find me, Lock and Key, on Twitter at @lock_key. That will be the only place that you can find me. So follow me there, and see me yelling at people on the internet. Neo, where can we find you?
You can find me at Neo_Ayoshi on Twitter and twitch.tv/NeoAyoshi on Twitch. I got my new PC pretty much set up to stream. So probably start tomorrow. I was thinking either actually doing Fall Guys on PS4 maybe, or trying some kind of just like a test stream, maybe some more Zelda Breath of the Wild. Just like Mr. Trip, what's up?
That's me, man. Trip Zero. On Twitch, twitch.tv/Trip0TV. Been doing Breath of the Wild, like Neo mentioned, 100%ing the game. Though we're pretty much done the 100% run. We're not finished it, but we're going to be putting on hold. We got a little special stream tomorrow with Plato doing City Skylines, and then Tony Hawk comes out on Friday, which means my Monday stream is going to be Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake, and we're going to play that for X amount of time ? Until I finish it, beat it, whatever metric we decide. But that's going to be Monday.
That's Monday.
Yeah.
So are you going to be playing with people, or are you open to playing with other?
I haven't thought about it at all, but yes, I am open. I am very open
because I have a 4-day weekend because of the holiday.
Ooh.
So I am off on Monday.
Wow, dude, I'll definitely tear up a skate park or two with you.
There might be some time to hop in and play some Tony Hawk, dude.
Absolutely.
That's
absolutely, man.
Callback, dude. I'm so excited.
That's the move. I'm very, very excited. So yeah, that's what will be on my streams, and I stream Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time.
Felix.
Yeah, Felix Hergood on Twitter and Felix Hergood on Twitch. It looks like there's some light shining on the horizon because there possibly is an upcoming schedule change at my job, which would put me back on my schedule that I did for streaming for a long time. So it looks like after the summer and the COVID and all that I might get a reprieve in my ability to like actually do the morning streams again. So that'll be fun.
Nice. The summer of the COVID.
And I'll come back with whatever games. I mean, the games that I just pre-ordered. I pre-ordered the Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, which I'd like to play on stream at some point. And then I pre-ordered the Mafia re-release because I never played the original Mafia game. Now, I had a lot of bad, really harsh words to say for Mafia 3 and Mafia 2.
You did.
So I'm going to see if this re-release of the new Mafia game, I'm giving them a third shot. Can you believe me? Why would I do that? I can't
believe that.
But yeah, I'm giving them a third shot, and I might end up streaming that when it comes out. So
nice.
Dope.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for listening. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week.
Later.
See ya.
See you, dudes.